Hello all and welcome to video classes by Konnur Institutes. Today we will be discussing what is revenue or how the firm is going to make revenue. Okay. So what comes to your mind when we are talking about revenue? So revenue is that a company generates by selling its goods which it is producing, right? So when we are talking about here the firm, the theory of the firm in the competitive or the perfect competition market, so we have made certain assumptions, right? We know that assumptions are made while we are studying a firm, how it is going to sell its goods and services in the market, right? So in the perfect competition, the assumptions which are made here are that the perfect market or the perfect competition wherein whatever the company is producing or how many units it is producing, the output, what we say, it is going to sell all those outputs. Okay, so that's the assumption which we have made here. So when we are talking about this output, then we also talk about here how many units the company has produced, those output or the entire output it has produced. So those have been sold in the market. So by selling those goods and services which are produced in the market, you are earning the revenue, right? So here the exact equal to how you are going to sell these goods which you have produced, it should be either less than or equal to the market price, right? So when you have produced certain goods, what you are doing is you are quoting price which is equal to the market price or less than the market price. If you quote more than the market price, what will happen? Will the customer buy your goods? No, right? We have already discussed about this price taking behavior, right? From the firm point of view and also from the customer or the buyer point of view. So when you have increased or when you have quoted the price more than the market value or the market price, then the customer shifts his buying behavior with the other company, right? Because he also know that the entire information which is prevailing out in the market, he knows that which kind of product is being sold by how many type of companies or what kind of company is providing what kind of goods. So he is all aware about the information which is prevailing out in the market. So that's the reason. So when you have produced the goods and services, you have to either sell it less than or equal to the market price. So this is the another assumption which is out here. So how the company or how the firm is making its revenue. For example, consider this is the information wherein a company is producing candles. Okay, so these are the units of output and this is the total revenue which the firm is earning. So if you haven't manufactured any of the boxes of the candles, then are you going to get the revenue? No, right? Because you haven't manufactured anything. That's the reason there is nothing which is sent to the market. So you are not earning here the revenue. So that's the reason it's zero. And when you have manufactured a box of candles and that is also sold in the market, because whatever the firm is producing, here it is assumed that it is being sold in the market. So then you will earn 10 rupees. Why is 10 rupees? Because we have considered price for a box of candles is 10 rupees and the quantity will be Q. So this quantity will be X. Why it is X is because this keeps changing. Okay. So how we are earning this total revenue? Total revenue is earned when price is multiplied with the quantity, right? If you have produced 3 boxes of candles, then it is sold in the market. So 3 into 10 becomes 30. So this is how we earn revenue from the produced goods and services. Coming to this graph, this is the graph wherein which is talking about the curve of the total revenue. So this is the total revenue curve. Okay. So what we have to understand when we are talking about this total revenue curve is, here we have to keep in mind 3 important points. One is that when you have not produced any of the goods or the services, means when your output is 0. Okay, see here also it is 0. So this is the situation, first point wherein you are not earning anything, right? So that's the reason the total revenue curve passes from this 0. Okay, so this is the first situation. When you haven't produced anything, then there will be no revenue. Second point is that as you go on increasing the quantity or the output from one to another, here also you can see that you have increased from 1 to 2. It becomes, here you have increased 1 more unit, right? So as you go on, you have increased 1 unit. So if you start increasing the output, then what happens to the total revenue curve? It starts rising. Why it is in the straight line is reason behind that is the price is 10, which is a constant for all the output you have produced. If you produce 100 units, then the price will be rupees 10. So that's the reason you can see that the total revenue curve is in a straight line. So as you go on increasing the output, what happens to the total revenue? It starts to the rising towards the upward direction. So that's the second point which we need to observe here. And the third point is that if you look at the slope of the curve, see, when you have decided to produce 1 unit, which is from this 0 to Q1. So this is the 1 unit which you have decided to produce. Then your total revenue will be A to Q1, because this is what your total revenue, right? See, for 1 unit, the price here is 10, right? So this is the point which is telling us that the total revenue is 10 rupees. Then what will be the price of this? How are we going to look at the price? So here when we are talking about the slope, it becomes AQ1 divided by this quantity, that is OQ1, which gives us the price, right? If you divide this 10 divided by 1, then what are you going to get here? You are getting the revenue, right? The price of, this is the total revenue which you have got here, and if you divide it with the quantity, how much quantity we have used here is 1. So what you are getting here is again the price of that unit, which is 10. So with the help of this slope, what are we trying to understand here is, if you divide the total revenue, which is Q1, which is vertical here, and if you divide it with the number of unit or the number of output, which is OQ1, which is here on the horizontal axis of the output, if you divide it with, then you will get the price of the commodity of that unit. So these are the 3 points which is very important for us when we are talking about the total revenue curve. So this is all about the revenue. In the coming classes, we will look after average revenue and also the marginal revenue. See you all in the next video class.